Hey, welcome to episode 3 of the Just Some Good Old Boys podcast. We got Brock
and Billy,
and we are also live on Facebook and YouTube. And so I'm kind of going to wait to get too into it to see if we can get some comments on here. And we've already got one right here.
From one of my boys, one of my twins. He wants me to talk about him. So since nobody's here, well, I better not say that right now. They are coming back from Stillwater. They've been at a baseball camp this weekend, a showcase camp, and hopefully they didn't embarrass themselves. So yesterday I went, their mom took them today. But hi, boys.
And hey, dedicated fans to be on here whenever it goes live.
I have 7 children total. A couple of them I inherited and adopted, and all of them are mine. So 5 boys and 2 girls, from Jarrett is 29 all the way to 15 years old or 16 years old for Tori, and scattered out in the middle, and twins that are 17.
So in the last 2 episodes, wow, that's really, I just noticed on here, says there's already 130 people live. So we're hoping that you 145 people between Facebook and YouTube are going to carry this show by asking a bunch of questions. Because the last 2 episodes we did, I told my life story in one and Billy told his in the other one. And now we want to make a show that's in large part about you guys. Been watching your videos for a while, which is awesome. And we got our next question, was a good topic I wanted to talk about. Brock, how are the lilies? Well, they're doing better than me. They're multiplying. And so I spent $300 on a chemical that you are supposed to dilute and put in the water. And I've mentioned it in the videos. It's supposed to somehow block the absorption of nutrients. Is that how most herbicides work? Do you know, Billy?
Some of them do. They all have different modes of action on how they kill the plant. But yeah, that's one way.
And so I bought that and I mixed it up and put it in there. And everywhere I poured it, the plants have died off. And everywhere that, because last year I went out on a boat and paddled out to the middle and tried to spray every leaf. That wasn't any fun. And how do you keep track? Even in a small pond, how do you keep track of which lilies you've got and which ones you haven't?
That die in the water.
Yeah. And so it didn't work. And well, what it did, it killed about 80% of them. But if there's any left, then it takes them over. So yesterday I resprayed them with the same basic thing, but I showed it in the video. I took the 4-wheeler and a backpack or in a pull behind sprayer and a wand, and I sprayed out as far as I could to supplement what we've already got. So let's see what other comments we have. Wouldn't mind a pup out of that hat. I don't know what that means. I always assume it's an inside joke and I'm not smart enough to get it.
Yeah, maybe it must be a regional thing.
Or sometimes it's a typo.
Yeah. So he brought me this hat to wear, and I refused. And since my boys are here watching, they will understand why I refuse to wear this hat, because I have a name for it that is not appropriate for Brock's YouTube channel. But some of you may know what I'm talking about.
My thought was we were going to be a little more upscale today. Yeah. And so we both have a fancy hat.
That's fancy, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to just keep popping these comments up here. Love the videos. Keep up the great work. Southern Ireland. It's really cool that people are checking out from all over the world. What's up with that hat? It looks huge. So pulled up to do a job for a good friend, and he was wearing this hat, and I said, that's a heck of a hat, and he gave it to me. He had 2. Okay, so
why would anybody have 2 of those? Why would anybody have 1 of those?
I don't know.
Maybe he had skin cancer or something and didn't want to get any sun on him.
I don't think this is a practical hat. I think it's a fashion statement.
It's a fashion. Well, you couldn't ride in a Chevy or a Chevy S10 with that on.
So
nobody be able to sit next to you.
People give me a hard time. See, this is a mirrored camera. It's messing me up. About my tan line right there. I tell you, I couldn't be any more proud of that tan line. It means I'm outside doing something. You don't get one of those sitting in the house.
when wearing sunglasses at the same time.
Right. Well, that's the only reason you wear them is to get the line.
No.
But a lot of people tell me I need to get some skin protection. I'm trying to get all the vitamin D I can get. I like, oh, we're losing comments here. I like how you're not afraid to be yourself. So that took time. Billy jumped right into it. You'd think it'd be the easiest thing in the world to be yourself, because who else are you going to be? But it takes a little while to loosen up and and just be how you normally are. Let's see.
That
you
is
can
true.
shade a village with that hat. I'm trying to decide if I want to wear it.
You could shade Quapaw with that hat. That's how big Quapaw is. At least half the town.
Add food coloring to the mix to know where you've sprayed. That's a good idea. Of course, I've done blue food coloring on the whole pond, which I think is what the pond dyes are. So it'd have to be something other than blue. Somebody would darn sure wear the hat. West Virginia.
Coon eyes. Yeah, I've heard that.
I don't know how many of you guys saw the video. I'll tell that real quick. Yesterday's video, I'm filling in where I dug the borrow pit down by the pond, and I've dug 3 borrow pits. The first 2, I dug it and filled it back in the same day. And the purpose of it, if you're not familiar, is I've got fill dirt and rocks I want to get rid of. I need good clay for building up the road or around the pond bank. So 2 of them I filled in the first day. The third one I left, and I'll get that later. Well, what happens when it rains and I'm harvesting clay?
Yeah, you ended up with a pond.
A pond I wasn't looking to have. And I thought, well, it'll dry up. It's not drying up. We got rain in the forecast. So what am I going to do with this thing? And the right answer is you get a pump and you pump the water out. What I decided to do, have you seen the video?
No, I haven't.
Is I'm just going to dump a bunch of dirt in there and go around the outside, but I can't reach out to the middle. So at some point, and I figured this out as I was going, at some point you either have to drive onto dirt that you just dumped in a pond and is going to squish out, or you pile up a train of smaller dirt piles and kind of bulldoze them in and push them without getting out on it. And I drove out onto the dirt I just put in, and as soon as I went off the edge of the packed ground, the skid loader tipped completely forward, and the back of the tracks was 3 foot off the ground. And normally what do? You push down with but there's nothing to push down on really. Yeah. And it's 6 foot deep in front of me. If it had tipped over, I would have had to, I would have been in water trying to come in the cab. I would have had to try to squeeze out through that little back door. It wouldn't have been a good day, really.
It made a good video.
Yeah. And so I cut it off, not because I couldn't finish. I did want to go in and watch a football game, but the idea was I want to point out my mistakes and take the time to show why I shouldn't have done that and what I should have done instead. But let's see. You ever done that? Tried to fill in a mud hole like that?
No, but I've almost flipped one over backwards before, pushing snow, and left a little lip. And then it was the old kind with better put my hands up here so people can see, with the joysticks, and got to rocking, and it leaned forward and then popped back, and I was looking straight up at the sky, which I guess would have been okay because I probably would have just ended up on the back end, and it didn't have a enclosed cab. But yeah, it's not fun. I wish I was good enough to like those guys that can load them into a dump truck from the ground, but I haven't.
We'll see.
Attempted that. We'll do that with Brock someday.
Yeah, just don't start requesting that video. I'll go out and try it and break my machine. So we got a comment here. Kevin Lukel. I mess up everybody's name, I bet, but this guy comments on just about everything. So welcome to the stream. Glad you're here.
I think he's the one who asked the question
about
the lilies.
While you're looking that up, Rodney Scrivener's here. He is local, I'm pretty sure. Been commenting for a long time. Clay is a good sealer for a pond. You want time-wise, it might have been worth it whenever I started this whole thing on the pond to drain it down and then pack in clay. Billy's playing the same thing. You're good. It might have been better to just drain all the water out, get the sludge out of there, pack in clay. But machine-wise, like I don't, and know how, I wasn't ready to do that. So clay is a good sealer for the pond. And I mentioned it last time. That clay, I was paying $70 a bag on the internet for that. And I checked a bunch of websites. It's expensive to ship 50-pound bags. $12 at the farmer's co-op. I've got to do a better job of shopping the farmer's co-op before I go out and buy this stuff on the internet. You think we could have handled that job to drain that down and kill all the fish and fix that right?
No, I don't think it was necessary because, and I was thinking about this some other time other than being here. The suggestion from Joe was to dig a keyway down the middle of the boys starting in again.
Nope.
Okay. Dig a keyway down the middle of the dam, right, to tie it in. We did that on that dam because now that you've widened it, the keyway is now pretty much in the middle of the dam. And at the time, that hadn't entered my mind. But as you kept adding dirt and kept raising it up, effectively, it now is in the middle of the dam and is as deep as the clay layer was down underneath it, which is what the suggestion was to do anyway.
Left and right, from front to back of it, it's in the center.
Yeah.
And it's below where the water level was at. Now, hypothetically, that could have been wider and deeper, but as far as for what we could do, I still felt pretty good about it.
Well, it had clay on the right. I mean, where I was digging, there was clay. There's clay on both sides of where that is now. I mean, there wasn't any topsoil to the right, to the away from the water. That was all clay, and we packed it down in there. So I think it's going to work. I'll be shocked if it doesn't work. I'll come on here and tell you I was wrong. It didn't work if it doesn't work, but I will be shocked.
I want to take a poll here. Who thinks I can fit through the hamster door? I mean, I'm slim and trim, but I think they say that's your safety exit, but I imagine
I bet you could squeeze through it if it was filling up with water. I bet you could find a way.
Probably wouldn't feel very good squeezing through.
Has anybody out there ever been trapped inside the cab and trying to get the safety door open in front of you? Because that's a lot of fun. I've done that before. I was pushing snow again, this time with a couple years ago when we had that really big cold snap. That's messing with me with my hand being, that feels like my left hand. Anyway, was going across the road and it was minus 10 or 12 degrees outside, and I had put fuel stabilizer in the diesel, but it hadn't had time to make it all the way through, evidently, and got in the middle of the road, crossing the road with cars coming both ways, and it died. And I'm trying to decide whether or not it's safer to stay in the cab and just get hit if I get hit, because it's snowing, and or pop the safety latches open and get out. So I decided to get out. So, but it wasn't fun. It was scary, and then it was a lot of fun getting that door put back on in minus 12-degree temperatures and 30-mile-an-hour wind and snow.
Let's catch up on a few comments here. Projects with Paul. He's got his own channel. I think he does fabricating and stuff. Seems like the last thing I saw him do, he was welding some stuff on his trailer, maybe. Yeah, someone's commenting on $70 a bag. It's ridiculous. I can't believe I didn't check that first.
Sucker.
Yeah, because, I mean, I said in the video, the recommended amount of that bentonite clay they said I needed for the pond, I did the math, and even buying from the manufacturer of that product, 3,000-pound bags would have cost me like $80,000 to seal my pond up. That's because you don't buy it and have it shipped like that.
Was it in those big giant gunny sack, 2-ton gunny sacks? Is that how it was coming?
Yeah.
That would have been fun hanging that out over the edge of the pond dam with your skid steer.
Let's see. One of your boys, should I read it before I put it up there?
Yes, you can go ahead and read it before you put it out.
This is you saying that you were going to admit you were wrong if the pond leaks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I'm going to leave you out of this, Peyton.
So, Rod Shepard.
What I was going to say earlier is my kids are assholes. That's what I was going to say. But they got that, came by that honestly. So.
I knew I needed a mute button, a beeper or something, so I could catch him as he was doing that.
But one of my favorite channels is Larson Farms, and Chet makes fun of his dad all the time. Makes fun of Duggo, and Duggo takes it like a champ. So
you're gonna have to learn how to pronounce this, whatever that is right there.
yeah,
Because
I just said it a second
I
ago.
think it means that he can't fit. Thanks for checking in. Awesome how many people we've got on here. So we've been reading a lot of comments. Do you have any topics you want to cover? I think you said something about food plots.
Yeah, I was. It was something that came up in the video that we talked about last week. Something that I'm interested in, and it's growingdeer.tv is the channel, and it's Dr. Grant Woods, and it ties into regenerative agriculture. He calls it the buffalo system. And if you want to learn more about what I was talking about in there, you can go watch his videos. It's growingdeer.tv. And but it's something that kind of ties in with Brock's business as well, because he's got the skid steer with the bush hog, and you want to eventually get a mulcher. It seems like a logical next step with the tractors you have is to be able to put those food plots in, and without doing all the tillage and soil amendments. If you plant the right crops, there's certain crops that help each other out, companion crops. And if you plant the right crops out there, you can have a food plot that's year round, that benefits all animals, not just the deer or turkeys or whatever it is you're trying to hunt. And I think it makes perfect sense, because you're just buying seed and paying whoever to for the no-till drill, basically, and their time. So, and without it being tillage, you don't destroy the natural structure of the soil, and all the microorganisms that are beneficial to the plants you're growing or stay intact. That's the benefit of no-till.
So one of the first things I wanted to do out here was put in a food plot. But for me, all I thought of with a food plot was just tilling the ground and putting out some seed.
Yeah.
And turns out there's a lot better way to do it. I watched one video you sent me about that.
Bloomberg says you just put the corn in the ground and it grows, but that's not how it actually goes. So it's a little more complicated than that.
Now, I've been getting some suggestions about hydroseeding. Are you familiar with hydroseeding?
Yes, I don't. On your pond dam, that would probably work really well, but I don't know that they could get down it because they usually are spraying at an angle. Like that's what they do on like bridge overpasses whenever they're reseeding instead of sodding. They just throw bales of straw and then a seed mixture in there and mixes with water and shoots it out of a cannon. Because they just paint the ground with it.
So we've got a lot of conversation on what to do with that pond dam that's so steep, because my solutions were riprap, which you really need a mini excavator to place those. I can't reach them down there. I'm not going to be able to stack them and line them up.
Yeah, and it'd
with
be
the
really
tractor
tough to push them down. I mean, you'd have to have a small dozer to push them down there or something like that. And
if it was more gradual, you can kind of tumble them and push them.
But then they might tumble all the way to the bottom of your pond too, not knowing what the bottom is like down there.
Then you could put sod on it. I don't think that's going to work. It's too steep. No. And even if I bought seed, there's a bag of seed just on the other side of this table, and then I've got that straw wrap, and I think that's still going to wash down.
I think
that's probably what I'm going to do.
The erosion mat is probably your best bet, and you guys have any ideas on that too. But the erosion mat, and I think you could probably put your seed out, put that erosion mat out, and if you can find a way, I mean, if you've got a little sump pump of some kind up there that you could fire hose some water on it every couple of days because you're getting some organic matter, something for those plants to hold on to with that erosion mat. You just have to be careful not to wash all your seed back down into the water. So I don't know.
So tell me the hydro seeding, how does that work? I mean, is that I'm renting equipment, or you get someone who does that for a living to come in and do it? I think you probably
get somebody that does that for a living. I don't know that you can rent that equipment. I've never seen anywhere for it to rent, especially around here. I mean, if you live in a big town, that there may be people that rent it, but I've never seen it.
All right. These are the kind of questions that I am not qualified to answer. So...
yeah. Have you tried YouTubing it?
Yeah, I bet there's a video. Welcome to Manisto Clay or K. Welcome to the show.
Just to go back to that, you know, me and him were talking about some different T-shirt ideas and stuff, and that's one of the things is, have you YouTubed it or have you Googled it? Always make sure you find multiple people that have the same opinion before you decide to do something, because there are idiots out there that, and we have made a few videos that may or may not fall into that category. Just like with anything else, do your research. Make sure that you find several people who one guy's not copying another guy's video, and make sure you're doing the right thing from the beginning. And also price check bentonite clay at other places before you buy it.
Yep, we got another comment on that. Yep. So next thing that I would really like to do would be an ambitious project, but it's going to happen. Before I even bought the property, I'm going to put in one of your yard ponds. And normally you think of it like just a plastic tub, and you put a few fish and some plants in there. I want to do a large scale, very elaborate version of that and keep natural fish in it that can outgrow it and then be moved down to the pond.
That'd be cool. That's something next time you have a reason to rent a Mini X, we can do that and stack up some rocks and put a pump on it. I have to look for some solar powered pumps so you can keep the water moving, because that'll be your biggest enemy.
Yep. But the Arms family has just done one of those for Houston, and I was actually thinking theirs is really nice. It's impressive. It was professionally done, but what I was picturing was even a little bit bigger than that. But
we have one at work, and there's not much maintenance to it. Keep ducks out of it.
Well, so that's the thing. Stacy's wanting to get some ducks.
You don't want ducks in it, or it'll never be clean.
Yeah.
It'll be nasty, stinky water all the time.
We put a sign up that tells them that they are supposed to use the big pond.
No ducks.
Oh, somebody's getting a new tractor. That is an exciting day. L4060, that would be a Kubota tractor, right? I think a couple guys on YouTube that have like a 6060.
No, I'm not as familiar with those. Is that, did they keep do they have a 3060 or do they have a 30 series and a 20 series like Deere does, or do they?
We'll see if regular Joe wants to tell us. Is that a 60 horsepower tractor? I don't know the model numbers either.
Tractor in the 60 series.
Any recommendations for a first timer? So Billy went over that last time. Number one thing he said was great advice is keep your bucket low.
Take your time. I mean, anybody can learn to run a tractor. I mean, so just use common sense. You know, you always think that it can do more than what it can. And that's always been my mistake when I've gotten on the smaller tractors. I grew up on big tractors, so you know, front tire dropping off the edge wasn't that big of a deal. It's a big deal on your tractor if you drop that front tire off and that back left comes up off the ground, because you're not very far from the ground and it doesn't take much to turn it over. So that's the last thing you want to do.
Pink tractors rule. That's a joke. Last time I said that orange was like pink for men. I didn't mean it. I like to say that, but I don't really think Kubota doesn't make a good tractor. The 60 series, 40 horsepower on the 60 frame. So I think K&H Tractors has one of this. Well, not the dealership YouTube channel has a 60 series. It's a big tractor. It's got it's above my experience level.
Is that something you can tow behind? If you don't mind answering again, regular Joe, is that something that you can haul behind a 3/4 ton pickup, or would you have to have a lot larger tractor or a lot larger truck to be able to haul that?
Yeah, Arms Family Homestead, awesome people, and their pond turned out fantastic. So I've watched it twice because my grandson loves to watch their channel. He's a big fan of all their fishing stuff, and so we'll be watching that one again to take some notes off what they did. Love my 1023E John Deere. Yeah, those for the price on that machine, you can get a lot of work done.
Is that what your neighbor brought down whenever we was
his
working on the pond.
Yeah, his is a 1025R.
Yeah.
And the difference is just a few things that mostly don't make that much difference.
Yeah.
Unless you need that one thing, but 60 horsepower. Yep. When it gets a little shifty, drop the bucket. Yep, I'm going to have to go back and watch the video. A lot of people, whenever I tried to dump the skid loader in the pond yesterday, someone said, don't drive with your bucket up. I didn't think I was, but
yeah.
I'll go back and watch it and see. Oh, we got another skid steer guy here. SVL 95. I think this is what Mike Morgan has, the SVL 95. Oh, so he's used to big machines.
Yep. I prefer the door on the Kubota. I like the way that you get in and out of it with the sliding door up and down. I also like the JCB entering X in the side. I think that would have been handy to have that visibility with only having an arm on one side down at the pond. You'd have been able to see a little better. But there's drawbacks to it too. There's positives and negatives to everything. He needed something to lift the weight. So
and also I heard some guys say that they like that door is handy when you need to get out with the boom halfway up, but the rest of the time it's
a pain in the ass.
It's a pain. It's not as ergonomic to get in and out of.
It isn't. A friend of mine brought one up whenever we was at the baseball field. Did you have Mark skid steer in the video? I don't know.
Yep, we showed it.
He had that, and it is cumbersome whenever you're just trying to jump in and out. But there's also other times that you think you got the bucket low enough to get out on yours, and you've already got it everything locked, and you're trying to get out, and you realize you don't have it down far enough. But I don't run it every day, so.
All right, regular Joe's commenting again. Oh, Bill, is this the same tractor that Hometown Acres has? A Coyote? I think that's a 35 horse tractor. Not sure.
Yeah, it is. That's
and
I've looked at that tractor before.
Hated the door for normal use. Cumbersome. Yep. If they had a dealer near me, I think I might have. I don't know about the telescoping. When you get it to telescope, it adds quite a bit more to the cost.
Yeah.
But just having that side door.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We had a telehandler at the last job I was at. And that thing was awesome. You could do so much stuff with that. You take big things of mulch and set it way up in the trees and stuff. So
I was
really handy.
I was under the assumption that when I got a skid loader, I would be able to comfortably dump into the dump trailer. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I can, but I have to my tracks are within an inch of touching to try to get it dumped in the
your
center.
Dump trailer.
Yeah.
Do you have sideboards on it? I haven't paid attention.
No,
I didn't think so.
I put them on.
See, I would have thought like a pickup height would have been, that would have been the limit. But
so height wise, I mean, I can go, 6 feet above it, but
yeah,
as far as, and I don't have the rotary lift, it's the vertical lift, and it still is. I can see a lot of advantages to that telescoping boom, but you pay for it.
I tried to talk him into the JCB tractor, or
I don't know what they call it. But
it's like a 1RT. I don't remember what the numbers are, and I'm not going to butcher it. But it would do. You had a backhoe, and it had so you was basically buying a small skid steer with a backhoe on it. Or with a small mini excavator on it. Now, it being a compromise between the two because he wants both. So all the attachments that you can put on a small mini excavator, you could put on the back, take the bucket off. It had hydraulics back there. All the attachments you can put on a skid steer, you could put on the front.
And this machine was pretty radical looking. You had to drive the machine, if you're operating the backhoe, you would turn your seat around to then drive the machine. But so it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, pretty sure that you couldn't move the machine while you're facing the backhoe.
No, you couldn't.
But they're innovative. That's what that company is.
Yeah.
Is they're pushing the limits on things.
It was a jack of all trades and probably a master of none, but it would have come in handy, like right now, to go down there and pack that dam in. But then there have been other things you wouldn't have been able to move the dirt that you moved,
I'm still wanting,
and it didn't have the lift capacity you needed.
I want to end up with a backhoe attachment on the skid loader. I think because I think it's gonna be limited like a tractor backhoe, but it allows you to still put the dirt behind you, which is my biggest problem with the tractor backhoes. You can't put the dirt behind you. Rod Shepard, been around with us a long time. 2038R. Went to a 3039. Congratulations. Patrick from, oh my gosh, I've forgotten the name of his channel. I've watched him a lot. He just went to a 3R with a cab. Said he didn't expect how big of a difference it would be because the frame is supposed to be the same. The horsepower is the same, but they say that somehow it just has a lot more power. They've got lot bigger wheels is the biggest visual difference between the two. And be nice to have a factory cab.
How long we've been on?
It shows it right there.
Okay.
Drove log skidders for 35 years. I spent a lot of time on. I'm going to be hanging out with the logger on Tuesday. Friend of Billy's. I haven't met him in person yet, but we talked on the phone. We're going to check out a small, it feels like he's a small logging operation, but he said he puts 6 hours a day on his mill.
Yeah.
And moves all the logs with an older skid loader.
Yep. He's a good guy. You guys will like him. He's got a channel too. I think it's Case Farms.
Yep. Paul Case Farms.
Paul Case Farms. Yeah.
And I'm going to be doing a whole video with him, but if you get bored, go check out Paul Case Farms.
He's got cattle. I've known him my whole life. His parents and my parents were good friends, and he's funny and a good man.
We got a Kubota guy. It's regular Joe again. Hey, they're number one in sales for a reason. You're not number one in sales if you don't make a good machine. Got to get going. Hey, thank you for being here at all.
Yeah.
Elk Creek Acres, that's what it is. I've known him, I've talked to him a lot, and I could not think of his name. But yeah, he just went to the 3R. And so in all these groups, we're in the 2 series group on Facebook for John Deere, the 3 series. I'm in the 4 and the 1 series. All the compact tractors, I go in and have discussions with everyone. And when these come up, Patrick and I are 2 guys who say, look at the 2 series, the 2038R as a good alternative to the 3. But then he bought a 3R. And he said he was surprised. It really is more capable.
Did you go up to his place? Is that the guy that had the place up there where you did the side-by-side comparison of the 2 series and the 3 series?
Nope. That guy won the giveaway, and he had the 3046.
Right. Yeah.
And he's actually sold his tractor and buying a skid loader. He's been talking to me about that. But the Elk Creek Acres is in New York, and he's been.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I always think New York City, but they got farm ground there too. Just rewatch the video. You weren't that high with the bucket. You just sunk as you were dumping the bucket. Yeah, City Pro Services. I met this channel. They're just starting off on YouTube. They were Video Creators United, but they have a legitimate landscaping business that, is profitable, been in business for a long time. And now they want to, and I was kind of sharing some different ways you can show that business on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you can show your daily struggles. Someone called in, our materials didn't show up. You can do how-to videos if you have that expertise.
Yeah. Showing
exactly how to do something.
A lot of different water features, City Pro? Because we could use some advice on how to do a water feature. And also, that kind of dovetails into something else I had down that I wanted to talk about. There's a big push in the world, and I think this is a valid concern, that we spray lots of weeds. Farmers spray lots of weeds. People that want nice yards spray lots of weeds, and that limits the amount of food for pollinators. And and City Pro, you might have an opinion on this, but something I was going to do in my previous job, because we were a place that sprayed. We didn't want weeds. We wanted 100% Bermuda grass. Was to plant areas of wildflowers that were for pollinators, for the bees and butterflies and everything else that needs those plants to survive. And you can plant varieties of those that are pretty and bloom all year long. Well, until the frost, obviously, but that's something that I think is at some point is something we may I would like to do. I'm interested in. I'm not an environmentalist wacko. I'm not going to go out and chain myself to a tree that you're going to cut down. But I think that some of those things make some sense.
So I get into it, and I've made 2 videos, a full length and a short, about telling the tree huggers to get off my lawn because we use wood for things.
Yeah.
Right.
They're living in a house that's made out of wood. But
at the same time, I'm not about just recklessly doing it. When we were going to build the Quonset hut, I targeted 3 trees, said these 3 trees, if they fell, could land on the building. And one of them was completely in the way. I said, I'm going to take these 3 trees out. Well, 2 of them had bees in it. And so I said, this one has to go. But the other one I left, even though I wanted to take it down because it had bees in it. And then I decided I was going to keep some bees. And this is exactly right. John Hodgkin, I think he's mentioned that before. Trees are a crop. They're like any other crop. And, they replant themselves too. That's another thing. But, I left those because I wanted to protect the bees. And it's on my to-do list. I've got a bee suit, and I want to start keeping some bees here because it matters.
Yeah.
More than when there's 100 acres around me of untouched woods. And we're not going to run out of trees.
Yeah, we're not chopping down the rainforest out here.
But if we can do anything to help the bees, and the pollinators, that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It doesn't, just because you cut down trees doesn't mean you can't do things for the trees or for the bees. Sometimes taking down the trees is the best thing for them.
It's essentially Tuesday is going to be like Holocaust for the trees.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, Paul, I'm on the phone with Paul, and he said, if those tree huggers didn't like you, wait till they see me. He's got 400 acres of ground, and he wants to keep cows on all of it. And he said something funny to me on the phone. People said, why didn't you just buy land that was already, cut? Well, you can't just go on Amazon and order 400 acres of perfect land right next to your farm.
And they have acquired a lot of land right around where they live.
So right now, Rod, you have your 2038 still? And you're going to sell it after? Yep. I can't believe I think that just changing subjects on you real quick, but I think that the European version of the John Deere is like a 2036 and has a factory cab.
Really?
But the 2038, you can't get one.
Maybe because I don't know why they went on the 2030. I was going to say because it rains so much over there, maybe a tractor without a cab isn't as marketable.
So you're going to private party sell your 2038? Yeah, it's weird that if they've got the ability, why they wouldn't just do it. I don't know if they want some differentiation. 5 or 6 water features. Highly recommend pondless waterfall features. It'll cut back on sitting water. And so the reason I mentioned it before, is my hobby for a long time was aquarium. I loved keeping fish, planting. It's kind of a little bit difficult to grow plants in an aquarium because you're having to maintain the right amount of nutrients in the water and stuff for them. And I had that as a hobby, and I want to recreate that out here on a bigger scale.
So you want to plant lilies in your water feature? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I want to recreate it.
Put some ducks out there, and you won't have to worry about things growing in the water.
Don Lee, we need to do a case study on Don Lee because love your channel. And I'm glad to have you here. The analytics I haven't even found them on Facebook, but the analytics on YouTube says that my audience is 96% male. I was up there with a bunch of homestead channels, and most of them had a predominantly female audience.
Yeah.
And Arms actually pointed me out. He's like, well, Brock does more equipment. I bet his is all men on his channel. And yeah, 96%. So we've got to do some more. We need some ducks and more of the grandson and stuff on there so we can diversify our audience. But thank you for being here.
Maybe we could can some green beans or something like that, and like homesteaders, and grow some.
Which is all things I want to do. Like, I'd love to be like canning, but there's only so many hours in the day. Yeah. I can't chase every squirrel. And right now I'm chasing a lot of them. So right now he's going to trade it in. Still need the tractor till mine comes in.
And you said is Rod Shepherd in Europe? Is that?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't think so. I just was referencing the lack of the cab on here. Oh. Sorry. Yeah, we don't want to assume anything, right? But I appreciate. Every time I see a female name, I think, hey, I did something right. Women are watching. You need mini donkeys.
He already has some. So do I.
Yeah, I'm not ready for livestock. I'm getting a whole bunch of messages. I need to quit looking at those. Such a habit to check your phone.
Are they telling us we're making fools of ourselves?
Well, one was from my dad, so I was making sure it wasn't important. He knows I'm on here because he commented on the live stream. Now he's messaging me outside of it. Yeah, my daughter wants a horse. My grown daughters want horses. My grandkids want horses. I don't know anything about horses, and I don't have a fenced area right now. I actually took down some corral.
Are they planning on coming out to feed them and water?
Oh, you know. I would be the horse guy. And I've never been around horses. Like, I don't have any experience with it.
We didn't have horses either. We had things you put gas in, and then you could not worry about it until you needed it the next time. A horse, you got to worry about it every day.
Yeah, or
nearly every day.
I can see in a 5-year plan having horses.
Illinois.
Yep. That's Illinois. That's in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Go K-State Wildcats. So I'm from Kansas, and I'm a sports guy. I root for local teams in every sport except college football for some reason. Well, I know why. I had older family members who are Notre Dame fans. So 8 years old, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I still am. So kind of a rough day yesterday for us, but a lot of K-State fans around here.
I wore this because OU won and Notre Dame lost. Just rubbing it in.
Yeah. Oklahoma guy.
I'm not a big fan. I used to, I've become a fan of players in professional sports, but not of teams.
Yep. This is, I pick one team when I'm 8 years old, 12 years old, and I've had the same teams my whole life.
I was a Dallas Cowboys fan, football, which I still watch them, but not to the extent I used to. Used to watch them but in my time, it was Danny White was the quarterback, Tony Dorsett was running back, Ed Too Tall Jones, and Tony Casillas and Drew Pearson, Drew Hill, I believe, was the other wide receiver. But yeah. And then just lost all interest in it. And later on, I kind of became a Braves fan. But, I talked in the last one. I was get my hand in left-handed pitcher. And and I didn't throw exceptionally hard. So I became a fan of Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. So that was kind of my baseball team. But I really watched it to watch them pitch, not so much for the team to win.
I don't want to assume genders again, but I believe we've got our second female commenting, so we're glad to have you here.
Carol is also volunteering her services to come feed them whenever you don't have time, I believe.
Yeah, I'd love to. I really would. I think it may be in the future, but it's not in the today. They've got sheep.
No.
I thought you liked watching the trimming videos on the sheep.
Well, that's one thing. A friend of mine showed lambs, and those things have no will to live. They get a hangnail and they'll just lay down and die. Maybe the Dorpers. Maybe that was the crossbred that he was raising to show. But I think they were Hampshires, I believe, most of the time. Hampshire is a sheep as well as a pig. but you probably didn't know that
I
either.
have no idea on that one. So Billy's son's on here again. He's got some stamina to listen to us talk this long. Who did both of our teams lost to last year? I don't remember that happening even.
Oh, I do, because it only happens once in every 200 years. So
is there a block featured?
Yeah.
How do you block somebody?
They're OSU fans, and they almost lost to Central Michigan, the powerhouse Central Michigan, the other day. So the OSU fans are always shocked when they win, even though they pretend like they're not. So
yeah, I always like hearing where everyone's from. Kansas native, KSU grad. Awesome. I've got quite a few local people, and one of the coolest things that's happened to me since I started the YouTube channel was I was at Silver Dollar City, which is a theme park like an hour and a half from here, and it was the first time that I wasn't at anything where I was announced to be there or anything like that, and someone just starts waving, and they recognized me from the channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Did you feel like a superstar for a second?
It's surreal. Like, I know I see the numbers on there, 10,000 people watched a video, but in real life, I don't expect any. It's like, you really watch me?
The guy who plays Brock on Rock Hill Farms?
Yep. Scottsdale, Arizona. Got Texas. And I mentioned it on the last time I was live, but if anyone's in this area, I will be middle of October, I believe 18th through the 21st. I'll be in Louisville, Kentucky for the Equipment Expo. Pretty cool. There's usually a lot of YouTubers, and a lot of the channels I watch are there, and you can drive equipment. As if you don't mind standing in line for a little bit, you can drive about any kind of equipment you want. So anyone in that area wants to stop by and say hi, I'll probably hang out at the Artillery booth. New Hampshire, a lot of friends from up north.
One thing, back to college football right quick. If you watch it at all, you know that Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma and went to USC. And OU fans are livid about it. And equally, Notre Dame fans are mad at Brian Kelly for leaving that. And I'm going to ask you, why does it make you mad?
I don't know. It makes me mad because, one, on a personal level, I don't feel like that's a step up in program. And then, so whenever you are going into kids' homes and you're meeting their parents and you're talking to these young kids and you're saying, we're going to build this together and we're going to do this great thing. And then if you get a life-changing opportunity, then maybe you still take that. But at some point, like you told those kids, and then to take basically a lateral move
or down.
Yeah, I feel like that's a step down in program in both cases.
Exactly. That's and it's kind of a pride thing. I mean, and I'm talking over the history of college football. Oklahoma and Notre Dame are top 5 programs of all time. Now, I realize the rules have changed. That's made it a lot more difficult for Notre Dame to recruit. But that's not the case at Oklahoma. And I get it. Southern California is much prettier than Oklahoma. But you don't leave Oklahoma. You don't leave Notre Dame. You don't. Once you get that job, you've made it. And any leaving for anywhere at that point is a slap in the face. And we don't like it.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I keep looking.
It's irrational. It's irrational, but you take it personally as a sports fan.
It'd be different if he was getting paid $5 million in one state and went to a state with no income tax and getting paid $5 million there. He was going to get to keep another $1 million a year. You know what? I can kind of understand that, but not for not in this situation.
So I'll let you take this one, Billy. Do you ever talk politics?
Yes, all the time.
Constantly.
Try not to on this channel.
So the thing about talking politics, I have a lot of opinions, and I think I could do an entire channel where I just talked about politics because I have a lot to say. I think I could talk about that better than I can tractors.
Yeah.
But also, it automatically becomes so contentious that you can have good people who disagree,
yeah,
and they're gonna learn to hate each other,
Well, that's
basically.
the
And
problem with the world today is that, I have plenty of friends that I disagree vehemently with on politics, but I'm still friends with them. And that's not normal in the social media age. Most people, oh, well, you like this guy? Well, that means you're
and
a communist or whatever.
it's out of control. But on another level, you can almost understand it, because people have their opinions because they feel like they can feel how it affects them and other real people.
Yeah.
And both sides have an actual case to be made for what they're saying, but you have to prioritize what this person is offended by and what this one cares about.
Yeah.
And I agree with what you're saying, but I think something else is more important.
Yeah.
And that's where
we all have a line that we won't cross.
I think we need to start a separate show where we can
Yeah.
really say what we think. On this channel, I stay out of it.
Nova Scotia.
Very cool. Very cool to see an audience from all over. What time of day is it over there?
I believe that's where the planes from 9/11 landed, wasn't it? Didn't they land on Nova Scotia? I think I saw a documentary on that. I didn't watch the documentary, but I saw the one existed, and it's something I want to watch.
Yep, very cool. Let us know if that's true and what time it is there. Got Minnesota. That's in Europe too, I think.
Yeah, Minnesota.
I've never been anywhere but Kansas, so everywhere's Europe to me. I think
FJB.
I think that means Facebook
Let's go,
jail or
Brandon.
something. I don't know what that means. You could alienate half your audience, and that half's good people, so I don't want to do it. I'm from Southern Illinois and Chicago politics. Vote often.
Yep.
Many times as you can.
And you may be assuming that since I said what I said a moment ago, that I'm
a you can't take it back now, Billy.
I'm a libertarian, so I don't care what you do as long as you don't it doesn't affect me. So what you do with your time and your money and your business is your business.
Northwest Ohio. Welcome, Bill. Longtime follower. I appreciate it so much when I see the same comments from the same people for over the course of 2 years and 600 videos. You're still commenting.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me, honestly, because everything I do is about, I wake up thinking about making videos. And so the fact people enjoy them means a lot.
Yeah. The Minnesota guy, I played in a baseball tournament in Brooklyn Center or Brooklyn Park. I can't remember. Right outside of Minneapolis. A long time ago. It's beautiful up there. Mosquitoes are enormous. Enormous. Sure. They make our mosquitoes look like ants.
And so sorry there. I was reading comments. I don't know what you were saying.
I was
Billy.
talking about the mosquitoes in Minnesota being gigantic.
The weirdest thing that people would say when you have a pond, you're going to have mosquitoes. And if it's I was watching someone say in a video, if it's a balanced ecosystem in the pond, that you don't have such a problem. We don't really here.
Yeah.
But,
well, you have in your big pond out there, you have fish and other organisms that feed on that.
Lots of dragonflies and all kinds of things down there.
Now, if you have some tires laying out here that get some water in them, then you'll have lots of flies.
Joined when you did the Quonset hut. We picked up a lot of viewers from that ongoing project. I feel like the pond's the same thing, and I'm on the pond for 3 months, and then we'll kind of move on to something else. And I've got a lot of ideas. I'd like to do a lot more building stuff. We need an awning on this building, and projects like that are a lot of fun.
Underneath the doors.
When we build a product and we got to ship it, and we go set them outside, and then if they come pick them up at 4:00, chance of rain at 3. It's awkward to work with them inside. Do we put a tarp on them? It's just an extra layer of hassle, and probably a couple weeks and a couple $1,000s we could solve it, and I just haven't got to it. So, South Georgia. How's the weather down there? Guessing good and warm.
Humid.
So we were wanting to go an hour. We're at 54 minutes in. We'll see if we have any final thoughts. Mine would be, I'm going to order a bunch of shirts I might give it another week. So people have been giving suggestions. Send me suggestions on what you would put on a shirt. Some of mine are just things I say, like better get something done, or I'm just out here winging it, or we're just trying stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to keep thinking that when I hear the one thing, there's been a lot of good suggestions about playing in the dirt.
I'm going back through some ideas that I gave you here.
Play
trying
on
to
words
find them. Yeah.
with my name.
Double entendres.
I like to threaten people with
Yeah.
the song lyrics to say that I'm going to brock them like a hurricane, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'll put that on a shirt.
I thought it should have been Brock Hill Farms, but
Yeah.
my
So
wife has a different idea.
my closing thought, Quonset hut was fun to build. We had a couple of teenage helpers that actually, when they were here, they did a good job and we appreciated it. I even made jokes at their expense and didn't catch any pushback from it.
I want to give my idea, my what I feel like is my number one idea. Small, just some, seen on the back of the shirt is a guy watching TV with his wife looking irritated with her hands on her hips. Bubble over the wife's head that says, "I thought you were going to fix the dryer." Husband says, "I am." And there's a TV screen with the search bar on how to fix a dryer in it.
One of my favorites, I'm sure he hasn't copyrighted it. Two of my favorites are from Outdoors with the Morgans. He's got a picture of Bigfoot, and it says Outdoors with the Morgans, and it's got Bigfoot in a silhouette, and it says, "Believe in yourself, even if no one else does."
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. And then there's one with the YouTube logo, but it says you, and where it says tube, it's switched to should. They call it "you should."
Yeah.
Because if you read the comments section, you should. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You should do it a certain way.
I wanted to build a log cabin. Just had a piece of property picked out a few years ago. They had some good timber on it, and I wanted to build a little, like an Alaskan cabin, not a house log cabin.
So that's
cool.
That's my dad telling me that, and taught me everything about everything, and mainly taught me what I'm working on is to have good character. He's been in a few videos, and I think the only reason my channel grew is because he watched each video 47 times. And that's how I got my watch time. Tractors and skid steers tipping away. Put it in the pond. Some kind of play on putting a machine in a pond. Let's build a log cabin. Yep. Hot and Humid. Is that the one from Georgia?
Georgia.
Rocking in the Dirt. I love Outdoors with the Morgans. Outdoors with the Morgans has done 1,500 videos. I've probably watched 1,300 of them. And lately, I've quit watching anybody because I'm just been too busy. But great channel, great family. That guy knows what he's doing. It's like a family vlog. They bring in the kids in, and a lot of people like to see the family thing. And my family is not there yet. I've been trying to get them there, but none of them want to be seen in a video.
Mine are only willing to post little snippy comments on our YouTube live stream.
Hey, I think you commented about watching the Steelers game. Who's going to play quarterback for them? They got a bunch of guys. Trubisky, I haven't been following it along. Yeah. My son and I are doing a Chiefs content around the Kansas City Chiefs because he wants to do that for. Now that's a good one. Now that I could see that on a shirt if I had one driving the tractor in the pond. It said "Nothing floats like a deer."
Yeah.
A deer's aggressive about copyright, and there's been someone on the internet who had just a generic logo like mine that used the John Deere colors and were told to stop.
Cease and desist.
Yeah, when I promise you, using your machine on the internet is all good for you unless I'm openly complaining about it.
You just can't.
Brad Myers' suggestion of the day. Yep. Building the off-grid stuff. I've watched 4-hour-long episodes where no one said a word. 4 hours of one guy in the woods building an entire cabin all in one video.
There's a guy I believe he's in Russia, and he did a dugout cabin. I watched the entire one of those. I have no idea how long it was, but it was a long time.
I don't think I have the skill set or the patience for it, but very cool kind of content. Colts are the surprise team of the year. Well, so the Colts aren't my team, so I think they will be bad.
and I don't care.
I hope they're bad. It's remarkable that the Colts have been good at pretty decent with a different quarterback every year. That's hard to do.
I just want Mahomes' wife and brother to embarrass him even more. I think it's awesome.
I don't think we need to talk about this. Mahomes has never done anything wrong, and neither has his family.
Well, oh, they haven't?
No, they're pretty fantastic. We're going.
I could detect some sarcasm.
We're going to win it all. I'm just saying.
If you can protect him,
yeah,
play a little bit of defense.
Yep, keep him in the pocket. Okay. I honestly feel like we could sit here all night, but last week 2 hours was pushing it.
Yeah.
You guys liked the live video. When we decided to do this, I said we decided basically once a week we're going to just sit down and share some thoughts. And the idea is we're going to have guests on. I know a bunch of YouTube channels about this size. We know local people doing cool stuff, and have guests on and introduce you to them, or maybe you already know them from YouTube. But liking the idea of the live. So let me know if you prefer live. I think probably the answer is going to be yes. You will be disappointed. That's a Chiefs thing. Yeah. You're supposed to, that's just the nature of it. Give each other a hard time about it.
Chiefs fans and OSU fans have a lot in common.
I was told September 25th.
Chiefs actually won a Super Bowl or won a championship.
Once every 50 years, we dominate. When will you get your truck back? September 25th. I was told the parts will be there. He said it'd take 1 or 2 days after that. Striped Cincinnati Bengals. What is that? Is that a football team? I've never heard of them.
They were good there like a couple years, weren't they?
They
made the playoffs. They were good back in the day with Ken Anderson and Icky Woods.
I occasionally have a blackout or something. How about nothing runs like a Dodge? Yeah.
A dog.
I love my truck when it's running. Get Joe on. You know Joe. Joe would be...
We would have to have the beat button awfully close if Joe got on here.
Joe's funny. He could tell stories. He knows a lot of things, and he's kind of takes his time in telling you about it.
He was actually on NBC. You can look up. They started a thing in Miami where they would prepay for lunches during COVID, and people were losing their jobs. They'd put up like $20 on the board, and they put it on a little receipt. And if you were struggling and needed to eat, you could use one of those. And they interviewed Joe on, I think it was good, the Today Show. Somebody from the Today Show interviewed him. We'll have to look that up. And
so I was wondering what Joe would think, knowing how Joe is, about the fact that he's been viewed on my channel 150,000 times.
Yeah.
Like if you would have asked him a week before that, hey Joe, you think you'll ever be on YouTube 150,000 times? He'd say no, but apparently if he's this old news to him. He's been on.
He was county commissioner for a while, and we have 3 county commissioners in Ottawa County in Oklahoma, and he was one of them for a few years.
There were like 5 people criticizing his way he was running the machine. And I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I'll defend. I'm not even doing it. But you got, all right, closing thoughts here. We're a little over an hour.
I totally agree. We should all watch out for this guy. He likes Milwaukee tools or DeWalt tools. So that's 1.5 strikes against him. He's a Notre Dame fan. That's at least 3. So
no judgment.
I don't know how many strikes we're going to give him, but the fact that you guys watch it all is a miracle. Like I can't believe whenever we started, we had 132 people watching. That blows me away. And we thank you guys so much. This is fun. I love doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Awesome. So thanks for being here, and we'll catch you on the next one.